Hi, Tony Selzel here. Welcome to Zipline. No, we got a blast from the past, way back from when Nathan Pfhaler with Remax Real Estate. Nathan was a coaching client of mine for a long time, and I've watched him go through some tremendous growth, both as a business and as a person. Nate, what's been the hardest thing you've learned in your storied career here in real estate?
The hardest thing I've learned, wow. How to stretch a buck probably is one of them that a lot of business owners learn.
Right.
But probably a lot of it was just faith in myself,
right,
and realizing that I had what it took to continue to move forward, to make my business what I wanted to make it, and continue to grow, help clients, and make a decent living at it as well.
Right. And it's such an important question, right? That we got, that a lot of business owners don't really ask themselves. Or what are they doing to build the faith that they have in themselves that they can actually make this happen? Because the odds are against them, right? I mean, the stats aren't very good for going out and starting your own business. And you hit a very basic tenet that's, how do we constantly improve the belief and faith that we have in ourselves that we're going to get there, that we're going to make it happen, that we have what it takes? How did you go through that?
Well, a lot of it came through Rainmakers and Expedition, and then Zarvos Coaching and Consulting.
Right.
Just kind of not reinventing who I was, but having a different perception of who I was and what I could actually accomplish in this world. Mm-hmm. So Rainmakers came into my life at a great point. Expedition came into my life at a great point, and then Zarvos Coaching and Consulting was kind of the pinnacle of that kind of pushed me through some more crap, and as well as got me to meet my wife. Right. So it was it all kind of came together in the timing that I think it was supposed to. Mm-hmm. May have been a little bit slower than I would have hoped from the beginning. Right. But it's a lot of it's about perseverance and pushing through and picking yourself back up and moving forward again.
So we call that scaffolding, right? It's building the scaffolding around the building to make sure you can continue to build the building. And I think what you did that a lot of business owners don't do is you got off your island. You stopped trying to do it all by yourself, and you found the resources you need in order to build this business that you needed, that took really an organization to do. And that organization was around Nathan. It was around what he needed in order to become what he needed to become in order to get there, right? So one of the things I think is really powerful to you that I know from experience is in coaching, you really got in touch with what is your why. And the reason I wanted you on the show is that the tagline we have for StringCan is leading with why. And so many organizations, I just thought you would have a unique perspective to talk about this. So many organizations, especially if they're mid-market and they're 50 to half a billion and even multi-billion-dollar companies, they forget their why. Why did I actually start this? What is it that I believe, and how do I share that with people? And that is the ultimate way they're going to grow their business. It's sharing that why, it's leading with that, is how they're going to get that out. Talk to me about what your why and how that's played in your business growth.
Well, I think at various times your why can change. Mm-hmm. Slightly. And when I first got into it and I was a single guy, my why was to be able to do more for my community, do more for my friends, do more for, my extended family. Mm-hmm. Now that I've been married and we have our second child on our way, that why kind of transforms a little bit. And I still have the community aspect. I still have the friends aspect, but it's now more of what can I provide for my two kids, mm-hmm. In the context of everything else. Right. So in addition from, wanting to put people in great houses and make those homes for people, mm-hmm. it's also what can I do as a person? What can I do with my team to help better our communities that we serve, the churches that we're participating in, and then just the community around us in general is huge for me. Like, I don't think that you can be a successful business owner without being in tune with things other than what's just immediately around you, but going outside of that base camp, shall we say, to spread your wealth, your knowledge, and and the gifts that you have to give to society.
Right, and I think it's so important for our listeners to really understand this. As a realtor, there are very few things you can do to distinguish yourself from other realtors. And I know, I don't mean to oversimplify or really speak to, what your business is about from a basic value proposition, but I'm talking about like plugging in and understanding your greater role in the community and participating to help the community facilitate and achieve its mission at large is really a large way in that you've been able to grow your business. I mean, it's been getting engaged in the business community, getting engaged in your local community, and then getting engaged in your churches in order to make the impact that those people need resources. I mean, Nathan put in the time to make the contribution, and that's why your business has grown. I'm going to brag for you a little bit because I know you won't yourself, but isn't that fair?
Yeah. I mean, that was a huge part of it. I lived in Irvington for 8 years and immersed myself in that community. And while I don't live there anymore, I still have great ties to that community. Mm-hmm. I've got ties to the church that we went to in Irvington. I've got ties to the church we now go to in Brownsburg. Mm-hmm. And I've still got great ties to the Rainmakers organization of getting phone calls from people that it may just be a real estate question, not even, hey, I need to sell or buy my house, but hey, Nate, I know that you know more than I do about this process. What can you tell me about it? And, knowledge is a valuable tool and one that I don't think you can keep too close to your heart. You have to be able to expel your knowledge on other people in order to, kind of, I guess, hold your place as an expert in the area. You don't want to, you keep all of your knowledge behind a lockbox and it's not doing anybody any good.
Right.
So the more that I can provide for people, it all ends up coming back, know?
So Nate, one of the other things I wanted you to speak about was, early on, you really made the decision as a realtor, and it's something that we've preached to our clients every day. It's the first step that we go through with StringCan is understanding your niche. And, even though you could sell to everybody, you got very specific with your messaging and who you marketed to. And talk about the impact that made in your business.
Yeah, we and still do focus a lot on downtown and historic properties. Mm-hmm. And that really, I think, in the greater community helps to solidify us as an expert mm-hmm. in certain neighborhoods. But also, we didn't come across as sounding like every other realtor out there. Mm-hmm. People may not have actually remembered, 3 or 4 months down the way that, hey, Nathan and his group specialize in historic homes, but they knew we specialized and they knew that stuck out in their mind. Mm-hmm. So they may call us even if they were wanting to buy a house in Fishers or Greenwood, which we do serve those areas as well. Right. But it just helps to continue to grow because we've got a good foothold in, once again, I'll talk about Irvington. Got a great foothold in the Irvington market, but you can't survive just on that market alone. So you have to be able to, diversify a little bit and serve a larger client base. But I do think, I know that it helps cement us in people's minds as realtors that we're a little bit different in how they went about their marketing and their
I like to say because you didn't go after the whole mine, you were able to secure the one piece of mine that they let you have, right? I mean, yeah. And as a realtor, whether you're a realtor, whether you're a financial planner, whether you're a banker, I mean, the perception is that there's 100 other people that do exactly what you do, and it's difficult to tell the difference. So if you give somebody a very specific way to clearly identify you apart from the pack, then they're able to recall and remember you. And therefore, that's the number one aspect of growing a business is you got to get remembered if people are going to take action. And I think that's a simple aspect of what you've done that allowed you to grow and one of those tools that allowed you to grow. What is the most important thing over the last 5 years that you've really learned as you've gone through this evolution of being a top performer and learning how to be a boss? What's the one thing that you keep coming back to that you would love everybody out there to know?
Well, even as a manager, you can't be afraid to make a mistake. Right. And you have to allow those that you are managing to also make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. Mm-hmm. every time I've had, either a client be unhappy with something or a transaction go a little sideways, I go back and look at that as a learning experience. And then I bring that to my team and say, hey, this is what I went through. Hopefully you guys don't have to go through this because I've kind of been there, done that. But what can we do to make sure that it doesn't happen again?
Right.
And that's all about learning. And I never turn my back on a learning experience. And it's a fact of life. Like, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall every once in a while. You just have to pick yourself back up, learn from those past blunders and move forward. And it's also helped me in interactions with clients and potential clients that maybe have had similar stumbles in the past too.
Right, you can speak to it.
Yeah, speak to it.
Yeah, so creating an environment that it's okay to fail is one of the best things that you've learned over the last 5 years to evolve and get to that next level. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Nathan, you've been Zip.
Thanks, Tony.